Welcome everybody to the Seven Figure Client Flow. I'm really excited today because we have some new content that we've never shared anywhere before. So I'm so excited that you're here today. I don't take it lightly that you have devoted your time to be here. So I want to make sure that we're giving you value. You're paying attention. I love that you guys are all on camera and you're here with us. So ultimately, we want to talk about why sales feel inconsistent. And let me know if you can relate to this at all in the chat. Like, do you feel like you're showing up, you're working really hard, but yet like you have those inconsistents, like the income dips, it's like the income roller coaster where it's like, woohoo, had a great month. Crap, what happened? Right. And that can be a place where you feel well, it's frustrating, right? Like you're not growing. I hate the word stuck, but that can be what it feels like sometimes. And then a lot of times when we cross our identity with who we are and the success of our business, then it starts taking a personal emotional toll on us. Right. So I want to ask you, have you ever felt like you're doing everything right, but for some reason the efforts are not matching? You're just getting started. Awesome. Absolutely. For sure. Yep. I'm here. So the thing is, you've probably built an audience of some sort, no matter how big or small, whatever those numbers look like, you have an audience, you're doing the work, you're showing up, and you're probably even getting a few clients here and there. I've seen a lot of times there's this like, I'm doing the work, I'm getting the clients, and then I have the delivery, and then I don't get the clients, and then trying to manage all of the hats as coaches that we wear because we go into this coaching industry and this coaching business like I'm going to be a coach, I'm here to impact the world, I'm going to transform people's lives, I love what I'm doing, this is amazing. Oh crap, what do you mean marketing? Oh crap, what do you mean operations? Crap, finances, I don't know anything about that. Oh crap. And all of a sudden we have all of these hats that are stacking up on top of each other. And if we're not careful or have specific systems set up, then what happens? That's where the burnout happens. That's where like there's nothing worse than loving what you do and feeling burnt out about it. Right, so I want to crush those out for you today, give you guys a pathway of being able to, we have a saying that we've been saying for years is do what you love in the service of people that love what you do. So I've learned, and I don't know if any of you guys can relate. I'm actually a very flow person. Like, just let me flow. I don't need a ton of structure. Sometimes it's drive Chad up the wall, especially when we're creating these master classes. Like, I need the structure and what we're going to say and what we're going to do. And here I am already off the notes. But what I have learned through the years is having systems and structure is actually what creates the freedom. So we're going to talk about today, how can you have this balance of having the structure but allowing the flow? Because I have a feeling that you attract who you are, right? So how many of you guys are kind of more flow? How many of you guys are like, give me the structure, fill my calendar spot to spot? That's how I thrive. And either way is perfect. Around here, we are about doing things in alignment to who you really are. So all of us are work differently. All of us need different things. All of us have different gifts. So how do we create this in a way that is aligned to who you are? Usually more flow, less structure. Yes, it took me years to be like, oh wait, I can have both. And we'll share a little bit about that. Um, okay, I totally went off my notes, but somebody needed to hear that, so it's all good.
And I'm just curious, like, if there was just like one thing, if you could get from this training, like, and it would just change your business, your life, your everything, like, what would that one thing be? Is it like how to get more leads? Is it how to get more conversions? Is it how to structure a business in a way that doesn't burn out, that can scale, that can go to a next level without these, ceilings? Where you don't feel like you have to sell what you're doing, they're selling you. Is it a way to hire a team that doesn't suck, that like actually brings in aligned people? Is it a way to actually manage them? Is it a way to how to maybe not have launches, maybe how to have successful launches? Like, what would be the one thing if you could, like, this is the thing, right? Like, if I got this would make the biggest difference. Like, let me know in the chat, like, what that one thing would be. Most of those things that I just discussed are not really challenges or problems. They're actually just, they're the symptoms of problems. Um, and there's a much deeper thing. And usually the challenges that we found that it's not the leads, it's not the launches, it's not, these are just symptoms of being in a unaligned business model, right? Like your business model isn't like aligned with who you are. It's not aligned in the effective way. So I want to know more about how to go from 6 to 7 figures without having to launch, meaning everyone has to join the same time, and how to use high level networks and to get to the
Love
next
that.
level. Awesome. Yeah, I love that. So partnerships. So that's one of the things, organic conversations. So how to have more organic conversations.
Or how to
Where
have
was
effective organic conversations, because having more is not necessarily the answer. There's such a, like, in order to scale, and I'm going to talk to different levels because I know that we have different levels on here. Some of you guys I've known, I see some new faces in here, which I love. So some of you guys are going to 7 figures, some of you guys are going to your first 6, some of you guys have made 6 and now you're starting into the coaching industry and kind of starting from like wherever you are here. I want to make this tangible for you. And so when it comes to organic conversations, it's not about more. When it comes to growing, especially from 6 to 7 figures, it's not actually about doing more. It's actually about being able to create more for 6 to 7 figures. It's about creating more leverage. And I'm going to do our best that we can fulfill on this because it is a very wide. What got you to 6 isn't going to get to 7, right? And having the right flow and some of the things that we're going to talk about today is definitely going to bring that. So I'm just curious. The organic conversations, it's really having the effectable one, and the same with the leads, the scaling, the automation, all of those things, without tripping over yourself. I totally get it. Sometimes we can make this into a huge like, oh, how do I do this? This is so much, or the tech stuff, all of that stuff. You're having good organic conversations. It's more about opportunities to pursue and not get distracted. I totally get that. I have a feeling
Mm.
partnerships, I keep hearing partnerships come into my mind. Chad, you got something?
Oh yeah, well it's like it's a vetting thing, right? Like how do you vet partnerships? How do you know which ones are going to be effective? How do you actually set up these in a way that's effective? How do you create agreements that everybody's winning, right? So that's a big thing. We've been doing that really well for the last 6 months or so. So yeah, let's keep it moving.
So I
Um,
want to share, like,
so
go ahead.
oh no, go ahead.
So I want to share, like, again, some of you guys know who we are, some of you do not. So let's just share real quick, like, who are we? Why should you even listen to us? Like, what do we know? So if you don't know, my name is Holly. This is my incredible husband, Chad. We started literally, so Chad and I, before we ever got together, we had our own separate wins and successes in a totally different niche where we've both spoke on stages separately, not in business together yet. Just like, actually, Chad used to be, I don't ever share this, but I'm going to. Chad used to be my traffic guy in another industry that I would buy traffic for him for my business. And that is where our friendship really started to grow and foster. And through literally years of being friends on the internet, we met one day and then the spark and the magic happened. And hence, Charlie was born. And through that, we have had the ups and the downs. We started together having an agency where we worked with literally every single kind of client you could possibly work from knee pain doctors to neuro performance coaches to roof people to gutter people, like you name it. And we were working with them. We started having a lot of success. I'm going to make this really short, and then Chad's going to come back in and say, whoa, 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 wait a minute. But we started getting very successful, and and so we went nomadic. We lived on the beach resorts and the you name it, like the balconies with the beautiful sunsets and the white beaches and like living it up life. But what was happening is Chad was so good at enrolling, and we're going to talk about the enrollment process here a little bit today as well. And I was really good at the delivery, but not so much on the leadership and the teams at that time. And what happened is I completely burned out. And being able to hold all of that, I actually couldn't. And it was a huge lesson. And the reason why we share this is, especially as you're going into 6 or 7 figures, multi 6 figures, there is a space of capacity that if Holly, like future Holly, could go talk to that Holly who had an agency and was burning out to the point where she started having seizures every day, there would have been such a enlightening conversation about emotional intelligence, about like, baby girl, don't hire all of, like, what you need is leadership. And like, shake her, like, communication and leadership is really what you need, and a strong dose of emotional intelligence to be able to hold all of this. I didn't have any at that point, and I literally started having up to 12 seizures a day from being on screens, doing all the work myself. At that point, I was still living in my trauma and needing to please everybody else. So I was in over delivery. I don't know if any of you guys can relate of being like as a coach, you can also over deliver what it is that you say you're going to do because you just want to please your clients and you want to make sure that everybody is happy and all of those things. And it completely led to burnout. Like to the point where one day I had a seizure that was big. Where I'm talking like I think I was probably going for third. I literally don't know. But when I came out of it, I had no idea what was going on. I looked at this guy like who are you? What happened? Where am I? Like at that point I didn't know much of anything. I didn't know that I had kids. I didn't know I had a business. I didn't know anything. It was quite the healing journey. I like to say that this was one of the best things that ever happened to my life. I genuinely, with every fiber of my being, have in that everything is always working out for me. I know that I always win. Regardless, if I had 12 seizures a day, I am a winner. And this is working for me. And it's so interesting because I know that every single one of you guys have a story of what happened and why you coach and why you do the things that you do. And the story matters. And through this, we were able to heal. You know, I've also had a past with complex regional pain syndrome, which was probably why I started going the seizure route. My nervous system, it brought me into a whole journey of nervous system regulation, alignment, and being able to heal all these past traumas and have the tools to be able to literally somatically remove them from my body, reprogram my nervous system and my subconscious into really a powerful leader that I am today. So I am so grateful that all of this happened. I went off the notes again. But I'm so grateful that all of this happened because today we wouldn't have the business and we wouldn't have been able to make the impact. And so wherever you are in your story, I want to just kind of put in there that everything is always working for you. And this is why you coach. It's like you have to fall off the mountain, fall down the mountain, slide down the ravine, and sometimes into the valley for who knows long. But it's about being able to pick yourself back up, being the powerful leader that you are, and then to help other people along the way. So um, I don't even know where to go from there. Chad, I'm gonna let you finish my
Yeah, no, it's
sentence.
fine. So yeah, so let's kind of just back up a little bit. So when we were having that, started having its success right before that, we were actually living with our accountants at her house. She invited us to live with us because we ran out of money. So we were really good at making money, but keeping money and then keeping it consistent was a whole different story. So we ended up living in her grandson's stinky bedroom while he got kicked to the couch. I started being able to go out and prospect and go out and hunt and then hope, right? Having people send us referrals. Who here gets a bunch of referrals for your coaching? And who here goes out and hunts for clients? Like there's usually like that's the coaching thing, right? It's like either we're hunting or we're hoping for referrals. And if you're more advanced, you got to the six-figure level, you probably have some sort of lead flow coming in from some other spots, right? And so we started having a seizure. We went the holistic route because we had a really bad experience going to the hospital. They thought we were just in it for drugs. And we, instead of going the safe route and getting to a place, we went back to the beach because we were making all this money. We're like, we'll
I needed
figure it out the
vitamin
health
C. What
house.
can we say?
Invited to speak at this event, and I remember showing up with no kind of expectations of this event, and the guy said something that just completely changed her life. And Holly said at the beginning, do what you love in the service of people that love what you do. And that completely changed her life. And it was like an actual representation of this because I remember we invited, one of the clients was the publicist for we invited two clients. Well, one was there, she was the publicist for the event, and the other one was a neural performance coach that happened to live where the event was. And she was a visionary. She was a high performer. She was called to make a deep impact in the world. And we were like, okay, that's who we want to work with. Do what you love in the service people. What are we good at? We're helping good at systems. We're good at building other people's systems. At the time, we didn't have a system for ourselves. That's our own lesson. We can talk about that a little bit more later. But we're amazing at other people's systems. And we want to serve these people that are called. I'm just here. Who here feels like you're called to make this impact on the world? Like you are a visionary. You are a high performer. You can get stuff done when you're aligned to something, like things get done, right? And so then we're going on this journey of this health. Holly has this really big seizure, and she, in this process of no memory, being like to the point where she could do the splits, because the part of her body that told her she couldn't do the splits was gone, right? Like didn't know kids,
Just goes
didn't
to
know like
show how
any of that.
much, just goes to show how much we really keep in our bodies and we don't even know.
Yeah. And
Sorry.
so talk about developing the seven-figure client flow, model in that process, like of that, of going through the things that worked and didn't work for our clients.
You know what? It's so interesting. I keep seeing this pattern of like sevens. There's so many sevens in this entire thing because we've been working with coaches since that happened for 7 years now. And so I
Wow.
can't say that it was like one thing, but being able to work with hundreds of people who are called to make a difference in the world, to position themselves, to package their programs, like we've seen things that worked, we've seen things that haven't worked. And every single year, I think it goes to show of like, being around for 7 years in an industry is a big deal, right? That doesn't happen a lot. And so I'm very grateful and I don't take it for granted at all. But what we did is we've even since optimized more. Something that I'm sure you can relate to, as which is why I love coaches so much, is because you are so committed to the journey and the growth and the evolution. You're always growing, because you know that the more you grow, the more impact you can make on your clients, right? And so we've upgraded this even more because I was like, okay, like we've been doing the call, really attract and enroll and transform, and there's another piece of this, like to be able to get to seven figures. We've gotten our 2 Comma Club. We've done millions of dollars online over through the years. But what does that look like? Like what are the actual pieces that were necessary to really put this all together? And so when I say that we are bringing out something completely new and optimized, baby, I mean it. So let me show you the seven-figure client flow right now. Let me share my screen for you. And we're going to go through and we're going to piece this together. Can you guys see this okay?
Hmm.
So some of the pieces that we're going to be talking about today is we're going to be talking about premium positioning, what premium positioning is, what's required to really set and package your genius into a space of premium is really like the messaging, your offer, the pricing. We're going to be talking about lead flow, your traffic, the authority, the content that you create. You can create content every single day, but if it's not creating authority, it's not going to matter. We're going to talk about the authentic automation system and how that was created and what that entails, some of the traditional funnel styles and how we've been able to condense them, because honestly, who wants a gazillion funnels trying to piece together where your systems are like duct taped into something? I don't know how they work, but here we are. And I feel like a lot of coaches who get to six figures, they're like, I don't know what we did, but here we are. And it took a lot of hustle and it took a lot of grind and it took a lot of duct taping things together to make it all work. And then the journey to seven figures is really streamlining these processes and putting them together in a way that is cohesive. And that's what the authentic automation system is. And then empowered enrollment. So what is that way that you aren't selling? I mean, you are selling, right? But like you're selling without selling. It's a natural process. It's really an interview. I'm going to let Chad, he is so good at this. And then the delivery and the retention. So when you have these 7 things, your business starts flowing. I don't want to say like it starts flowing and everything is easy and you're never going to have to work. You're just going to like, that is not what I want to communicate with this at all. But what I will say is there's ease. And there's something that I've discovered because mixed in all of this is the energetics, the alignment, and being like system regulation has been so vital for me throughout the years of how do I stay solid? How do I deal with all of the things that are coming at me all at once? How do I stay grounded? How do I reprogram my nervous system so that when you do this, you have ease as you go through the hard things? And like, I can't say that things are going to be easy. I won't promise that because it takes effort to get to six figures and seven figures in any industry. And coaching is probably, I'm just going to be real, probably one of the most challenging. But when you have a calling to this and you know this is what you're here to do, you overcome those challenges. And the big part of that is nervous system regulation. So ultimately, let's go through, Chad, I want you to kind of speak into positioning for premium clients. Like, how do you create It's being
Yeah,
able to
I
have
want to
an
talk
offer with
to
the right messaging and the pricing and
right.
get that out of the way.
Yeah, I actually want to talk about one of our clients, Brett. He was a therapist, right? Like, go to the office, spend an hour and a half minute, well, probably 50 minutes, where they take that extra 10 minutes to do their in between things or whatever, and they charge you for the whole hour. But that's just what, that's how they do it. And he would have to go the whole month to make $10,000, right? And he joined our program, and one of the things he wanted to do was transition from therapy to coaching. And we end up creating a package that not only the offer was made for a premium client, but the messaging landed for that premium client. We end up creating, not that you need to do this, but he created a $10,000 package. I think it was for 3 or 4 months, and ended up selling it the same day that he made it. So he went from making $10,000 in a month to $10,000 in a day, and completely replaced his whole uh, 40 to 50 hours, because you're working in between hours at all that therapy business, and was able to completely replace his income with one day, one sale, all because he created that messaging and that offer and priced it to a premium offer. And it was a pretty amazing thing. So that was awesome. Um,
So something I
so
wanted to kind of put in here, because I want you guys to leave with some ideas and like, obviously we can't tell you all. We would go hours and hours into messaging and offer and pricing and like we have all of this experience and knowledge. But what I would say is like knowing who that person is. And I'm going to share what we've been doing. And so like you can watch this from different angles. Our ideal person, you know that you're called, right? You're not afraid to do the work and you're going to do what it takes. But you understand energetics and the alignment. So as we've been talking, you can hear like you're a high performer, you're called, wait, that is part of your messaging. Like you have to know who your people are. And when you speak directly to them, I heard this years ago and I've just grabbed onto it. You can be on the rooftop shouting like, hey, I can transform your life. I'm a health coach. Don't you need good health? Right? Or you could like literally whisper, hey, I work with moms who are postpartum and help regulate your hormones so that you can take care of your baby and not be in tears through the whole day, right? That person is going to know immediately, like, oh, yeah, yeah, I'm a new mom and I'm crying all the time and I don't even understand why. And then they start crying, right? So the more you can speak to your person, the better. Right, and there's this big conversation of niching, and I can help everyone and all of the like, yes, but even, like, working with men or with women, it's a completely different conversation. Like, if you're working with women and health just keeps coming to me, like, their health challenges are a lot different than a man's challenges. Our hormones are different. We have different bodies, like, right? So being able to know who that is and speak directly to them will allow you to position yourself so much more effective. I saw a woman who I actually freaking love her and I love her abs. So she's like, she has this Louis Vuitton like Stanley mug and she's like, come on, girl, I know you're making six figures, but you're working all day long and none of the workouts that you've been doing are helping you fit into that designer Louis or outfit. I don't know what she says exactly, but she speaks so up to the high class woman who's high performing and she works a lot, but she doesn't have time to work out. And so her body isn't reflecting the badass of who she is. And she's so upfront that I only work with six-figure women. She's positioned herself to a premium level because of how specific she is, and she knows who these high performers are as people and speaks directly to it.
yeah, so here's just if you want to just take a one action step of like what problem do you solve, or can you solve, that higher performance people that are more, well, I'll give you this. We had another client when we first started working. She already was kind of a premium product. She was $17,000 for the year, and we upped her price. Holly helped her with her offer and the positioning. We've been doing this a long time, and she ended up just targeting the top most wealthy zip codes in the country. And there was a whole strategy that we helped her create to attract to get into these audiences. And she ended up enrolling 6 people at $33,000 each. And one of the things that she looked at was like, how can I serve this higher level people at even higher level? Like, so we were like 33,000, that's great, that's your regular program. And then what we had was the slap the donut out of the hand package, where she would actually go live with somebody for 2 weeks in their guest house. And they would go through she'd go through their pantry, and we made the joke that she would jump out in the middle of the night and slap the donut out of their hand as they're like trying to eat it in the middle of the night, you know. And so so that that was the joke. So what is your slap the donut out of the hand package, and then how can you deliver that for the like higher, more premium clients? And so that's just some brainstorming that you can kind of think about. um
So let's talk about lead flow. So I
mhm.
know someone had mentioned that, you know, they're doing organic traffic, and I'm just curious, like you're Vanessa, I know you're working towards like how do you get more traffic, right? There's a point where it's like, okay, now you have your offer and your pricing and your messaging. Well, like, how do I get people to that? So there's different types of traffic, right? There's paid traffic, there's partnership, and there's or through your organic content. Now, what tends to happen, and so paid traffic is that you're in a different place. Like I would say, unless you have $2,000 to just drop on ads, I wouldn't even go to paid traffic yet. Like, but that would be a good place to like, okay, I have $2,000. I'm going to set it aside. I can start traffic and start on that side. Um, the partnerships is or the yeah, the partnerships, this is really bringing authority because ultimately and your content is built into that. So as and you can see this is why this is like a pyramid, it's all kind of moving together. When you have your messaging, then your content gets more refined and then it builds into the authority and then you get these partnerships to go on different podcasts, collaborations with different people, maybe using like their email list. Like there's different types of partnerships that you can do. And then content, being able to structure your content in a way that people are like, oh my gosh, I need this. Like it's different. I will say that the reason why you can post all day, every day, and I have literally posted just about, I won't say like 7 days a week, but probably at least 5 or 6 days a week for the last 7 years. Has it all been successful? I mean, it's all nurturing, but there's what I found is there's different pieces of content that do a different job, right? And so just posting to post doesn't always work. But when you can have a mix of, like again, and your content, and here's another thing that I see is your content is not about you. Your
Yeah.
content has nothing to do with you, actually, right? And it's all about this person that you're speaking to. What is it that they need? Like I wake up and you get to share you too, because I think people join people because they like us, right? You showed up here because there was something about the messaging and there was something about Chad and I that, like, you know what? I'm going to take the time. I'm going to show up here. There's just something about these two, right? So that is developed through content, through building authority, and through having traffic sources. You also want to know where who this person is and where are they? Like, is it Facebook? Is it Instagram? Is it LinkedIn? And there's no right or wrong here. This is purely alignment. Like what's aligned to your person, what's aligned to you. I personally I consume content more on Instagram than I do on Facebook, but I don't have a big following on Instagram. Like my Instagram account, like if you guys want to go follow me, but I'm not doing like the right kind of content. And I recognize that my content and my clients are mainly on Facebook. So you just need to know where your place is. Like I say that like in quotes. Um, and start creating very strategic content that is, I call it soul content. I was having a conversation, currently right now I'm working with a really big event company, and I was backstage at one of their events, and I was talking to a multi-seven-figure copywriter, and he's like, "Well, what makes you different?" Right? Like he was just looking at me like he didn't know who I was, and that's fine. Like, well, what makes you different? I'm like, well, I speak to people's soul, and the look on his face, it was like five eyes. Like, what do you mean? Like, direct sales copy? Like, who did you study under? I'm like, no, I speak to people. Like when you can get beyond, like it's messaging is so big because there's different layers. There's what people consciously want. There's the subconscious of people's desires, and there's the soul calling of what people are here for. So how can you speak to that soul calling? Because you know, right? Like when your soul is calling something, like it is a knowing. So you want to get into into your person to the point where like you know what their soul is moving. And so that's going to lead the traffic, the authority, the content, all of it. It doesn't have to be a formulated thing when you know your message and you can speak from the heart. It's my favorite girl. Hi, sweetheart. So let's talk about the authentic automation system next, because that is a part, like, okay, so you have traffic and all of that stuff, but you really want to have a structured place to bring people. Like, and this is where the traditional funnel, and Chad, actually, if you want to share kind of the traditional funnel, so to speak, is opt-in page, lead magnet, or webinar, or however you choose to structure that. Build your email list, send an email, right? Like, that is the traditional sense of what a funnel looks like. Chad is an amazing drawer. I want to make sure that he can get up to the whiteboard as much as possible. You're going to be so impressed with his
She
drawing.
like sets me up for this. So I'm curious, who here has a funnel? Like, do you have a opt-in? Do you have a webinar funnel? Do you have like what kind of funnels do you guys have? What are you doing? So this is the thing. We have like a really kind of 7 different layers of steps in the whole process of business, right? 7. The first one's audience building. That's not like that's really like an or like a of invisible funnel, right? It's either an organic funnel, it's a partnership funnel. We have one of our partners on here today, Andre, and then you have your paid funnel. Like they're out in the world, and it's going to bring people in. But then you need to start capturing leads. And so that's the first thing. But most people, what they're doing is a quiz. That's awesome. Building a nurture sequence. Awesome. Um,
Really having an organic funnel. I call them the invisible funnels.
yeah. And so this is the thing is like we have our like most funnel situations look like this. They are kind of disjointed. You have your
You want to
because
show your, oh, can you
can
guys
you
see his whiteboard?
can you see everybody see the whiteboard? All right, perfect. So this is like, so I'll write on this, like a lead magnet, right? This is like the cheat sheet, the ebook, the whatever, whatever the thing is, right? Then you have maybe a challenge or a webinar because this is what actually sells. It nurtures people, it builds a relationship, it does like we literally have not done a live event in since September, August, something of that nature, because we've learned a process that's been wildly more effective. And we'll get into the authentic automation in a bit here. But so then you have your lead nurture, right? Um,
And we literally did this because we wanted to. So it
yeah.
would be like to do like live master classes and stuff because you wanted to, not because you had to. There's such a different energy to it.
Oh God, yeah. Because there was literally a point in time where we had to do we wouldn't do it every 4 weeks because it would suck terribly. Because you're literally promoting super hard for 2-3 weeks, getting as many people on as possible, and then it's another week or two of like following up and like reaching out. Hey, saw that you're on the event. You want to like see if you're interested. Blah blah. And then like and then book whatever calls there, and then it's so tiring. And then in
It
two
takes a lot of
weeks,
energy for
yeah,
sure.
in 2 weeks you have to start doing it again for the next one. And it's just rough. And literally like there's especially when we have a really big one. We used to have our 50K by Christmas event, which is in October. And we would get like 300 people on it. And then I'm also doing the sales calls too. So I'm now doing calls and following up and delivery with clients and all that. And by the time November 21st comes around, I don't want to talk to anybody. But this is the lead magnet, this is the lead nurture, so it's like a webinar, and then the conversion funnel, it looks like this. It's like the straight to offer. Like, hey, do you want to buy this thing that we're offering? Hey, do you want to book this call and get this offer that we are doing? Right. So it's like a very specific. I thought the memory of the work made. Yes, it did. It made me want to take a nap. Um, so you this is the disjointedness that we had for 6 years, where we would do a lead magnet of some sort. We have 100 freaking ebooks. Holly wrote them all. We have I'm just
Before
speaking.
AI, even, like, I actually wrote them.
Yes,
Let's put that
and
in.
then we probably have over 200. No. maybe what 50 to 100 webinars, challenges, master classes, workshops, intensives, all of these things, right? That we did, some paid, some free, all over the place. And so those were like our nurturing thing. And then our conversion was really pretty much a page with a video of, and then like a bunch of case studies and
Right.
testimonials and a bunch of different things. What you did before the 6 years
I
with the
also did
disjointed
Rocket.
funnel? I've been
So we had
what
a
we
disjointed funnel and
yeah,
we
we had
lived in
this.
Long Island for a long time. And then we figured out what we're about to show you guys. And it's been amazing. And the only reason we did a masterclass is because we wanted to.
Love it. Yeah,
So
it's
let's share that. So we have called it the Authentic Automation System. I have not seen this around with too many people. So it is ultimately, here, I want to write or talk with Chad as Chad's going.
yeah.
So ultimately, the authentic automation system, what it does is it takes people, you have three different stages in your audience. You have the people, like Vanessa, like you said, like you're either a match or you're not, and you know it. Those are like your hot people. Like they've invested in you, they've watched your content, they connect with you. Like that is your hot audience. Before they get there, they're your warm audience. They're like, they're looking around, like, what are you posting? Okay, I like that. Oh, you're having a masterclass. Let me go check that out. Like, those are your warm audience. And then your cold audience is like, I have no freaking idea who you are. This is the first time I've ever seen you. So there's different ways as you're growing your audience, like as you're growing your audience, as your this whole system is what we started doing when we had a disjointed funnel system. We would look at each, like we would literally have a funnel, like here's our hot funnel, here's our nurture funnel, here's like the cold funnel. And it was very disjointed and it was exhausting. And I don't know if you guys are into human design at all, but I'm a 3-5 projector. And so I have no problem sharing all of the ways that I failed so that you guys, we could create something magical together. Um, so what we did was we created the strategic process that would bring people from like, I have no idea who you are to holy smokes, I want to hire you. And that is what the authentic automation system is. So it is a 3-part series that is done very strategically. We've documented the whole thing, manifesting generator, Chad's a manifesting generator. But it brings people through like a problem awareness. Actually, I'm curious because when you guys registered, the next step after the registration is that you could go watch the authentic automation system. Did any of you guys get to go through that? Yeah, we have all the projectors in here. I love it. I think this has been great. I'm like, this is such a projector way because it does it all for you. And so ultimately your job is like once you really land the messaging and what you're doing and you structure this, it's I, mini course doesn't do it justice. That's why we renamed it because it really is like how do you speak to your cold audience is completely different than how you speak to your hot audience. Right? Like if I talk to you guys and I had no idea who you are, I'm going to be like, "Hi, how are you?" like in the beginning, but now here we are. We've been together for a little while. I feel like we're becoming kind of besties and now I'm like opening up and I'm like I'm a projector, like oh my gosh, I'm a projector too. Like and you start moving through from cold, warm and hot. Right. So what the authentic automation system does is it is literally a system. It uses gamification to keep people engaged because a regular mini course, people don't go through courses. We know this, right? So what it does is it uses different gamification and I don't want to say triggers, but gamification and self-discovery put together to be able to bring people through the process so that they stay engaged. And when they go through the hot and they're like, oh my gosh, I see the vision. This is what I need. They discover for themselves. I think that's huge. As coaches, it's not our job to tell people what they're doing, like what's not working. Our job is to help them discover it for themselves. Right. And so that's what this authentic automation system does is there's a gamification to keep them engaged. And then there's a lot of self-discovery through this so that they can discover for themselves what they're missing. And because you've helped them discover that, you are now the solution. And then they're like, I want to hire. That's really what the authentic automation system is. Chad, do you have anything to add to that?
Uh, yeah, Vanessa asked like, do we have one for each offering? And I basically told her we really only have like one straight line. Like when you have a bunch of different offerings, it can kind of almost dilute kind of what you're doing, and then it also causes. So the way that you this is like if you're a creative person and you feel the need that you need to keep creating new things, you create new events, you create new content to drive people to the thing. So like this is like I love creating new things too, and Holly loves creating new things, but we're like, okay, let's use that creativity to actually drive our ideal person to our authentic automation system. And so then
So if you
you
think of this as like you always want to be collecting, I don't want to call them leads because they're people, but you want to be growing your list, right? So you're always working on growing your list. This is helping you grow that list. So the larger your list, you don't have to be so dependent on always showing up. So as you do have these new offers, because there's sometimes where we just get that bing. I actually had one of that bing, and I'm going to share that with you guys at the end of this. Is you got to follow the flow of that too. I don't believe in shutting down the ideas as you get new offers, because you never have a money problem, you have a self-trust problem. So if there's something that's popping up and you want to launch it, when you have a list and you've grown people from like cold, warm, and hot to, I would say, to have a signature offer. And I don't know your whole platform and what that looks like, but it could be, maybe we could talk about that. But if you have like them all in one, and it's like a year and they just get everything from you, right? To have something that is your signature, that leads, that you would use the authentic automation system to actually to go through. And then as you're growing your list and you're nurturing them, as you have different offers that come into your brilliance and you bring it into life, because that's what we do, then you have people who are already nurtured and ready. That's how I would say that. Um, Chad, you want to get anything else?
no, this is I gotta that's it.
Okay, awesome. So now let's talk about the empowered enrollment. This is the next part of um, really the seven-figure thing. So when we say, and I would love to hear your feedback and what, like, who here, and I'll just say it like right up front, I actually love being sold to. Like, I am this weird freak. When they get to an event or to the pitch, I'm like, hold on, let me get my notebook. I can't wait to hear them. I want to, like, I love being sold to. And I know I'm probably one out of 100 people, because most of you are probably like, I hate being sold to. I hate sales. I don't want to, like, when it comes to that enrollment process, it makes people feel all icky and weird. And all these things come up, whether it's past stories of this gross salesman at a car dealership, or like, I don't, just came to my mind was the Disney store. We used to play the game, like, can we get to the back of the store without someone like interrupting us? You see selling as an invitation. Awesome. That's it, right? So how do we create this in a way that we are like, there's a rewiring of the mind and the nervous system around sales. But ultimately, when we can make this as a place that is an empowered enrollment, and what that means is you feel good about it, they feel good about it. It is just like a phew, right? And Chad is really good at this.
Let
Shut
me
up.
jump in on this. So even if I meet me at an event and they're like, I need what you are offering, I still have them with you, our authentic automation system, before I get on a call with them. Like even if they're like, I'm ready to buy, I need them to go through the process and understand exactly how we help you. Because if somebody's uneducated on how we work, and then they become a client, they're like, "Ooh, I didn't know I was to talk to people, or I was gonna have to like content, right? I was gonna need to do those, or which I'm sure you could do this without doing videos, but like, or I didn't know I was gonna have ways doing this business without social media. But it's like if you don't if you're not a networker and like go out to events, like I could help you do that, but like we've really built this around using the internet, right? Like but there we have attracted people like referrals. We'll get referrals and they'll show up and they'll be like, oh, I have to be on the internet. I'm like, yeah, like they're like, I need to be on Zoom, like come on Zoom calls, and like, I'm like, yeah, yeah, what? And so everybody needs to watch the process, go through the process, so that they're selling me on why they're committed to getting the result, not me selling them why they need the program. Like it's a complete switcheroo, right? And so you want the complete switcheroo because it feels so much better when they're telling you why they need to get this result and why they need you, especially if like why you're the person. Like all of those things are super powerful. And so it's a different energy to come in. I getting on calls and people have like 1,000 questions of like, well, tell me about like how you would help me. I'm oh, like, I don't know. Oh, you,
You're breaking up again, but and now he's frozen. All right, so I'll pick up until he comes back. So ultimately, it's a whole switch of conversation of like we're always serving, right? It's impact, we call it impact marketing. We're always serving people, and one of the best ways that you can serve people is to have them ask questions. Like we are all about self-discovery. How do you see like you can help me? Like what do you like what is it that you're out for? It's really like an interview to make sure that they're a good fit rather than like trying to convince you of our thing and that you need to be in it. And it's a complete shift of energy. It's a complete like you can sell in the DMs or whatever, but ultimately if you ask questions in the DMs and you can see like this is actually very powerful too because you want to make sure that you can actually help people. Because we don't want to just be giving our like selling just to sell just for like to get money. Like that is terrible. Like, you will regret that at some point in your career of taking on the wrong client. And then like there's been times where like, you here's your money back. So, empowered enrollment, it's really you're shifting the conversation to more of an interview process to make sure that it's a good fit on both sides. And then we use like this magical, like, where would you like to go from here? So that is the empowered enrollment. The next thing that in the seven-figure client flow, it is really the delivery and the retention, right? So Vanessa, I love that you have the whole. I'm just curious, like, what your whole. If you have a signature program, if you like what happens after that, but really knowing the client journey, and even if you have a bunch of offers, Chad and I, this is the great of having two different people in here. He's like, one offer. And here I'm like, no, I got this great idea. We're going to go do this. But the important thing of having multiple offers is that each one can stream together to the next one. So the delivery and the client process and the client and the retention is like, okay, did they go from one offer and then you have the next offer? Are they moving forward in that one? Do you have a system so you're not like crazy on Zoom calls all the time, burning yourself out? Are you like, and this
Yeah,
is really
I'm
for
on Zoom
everybody too.
calls a lot. Like I think today I have 8 clients. Like I'm still doing like one-on-ones, but I'm building Soul Guiding Institute, which is like an online school where there's like a membership part where like that's gonna have like pre-recorded content. And then there's gonna be like the what I'm teaching live now, people to do what I do. And then what I want to do is create like this is the question. This is why I'm here like today is kind of like I always, like I said, I always try to create structure before more flow. So like the thing that I've been noticing, like that I've been hitting up like internal resistance is because like I don't want to create more work for myself. So I want to set it up right from the beginning. And because I have like A-list celebrity clients now. I have like people who make like 300 million, like they're like flying me places to do stuff like, and I'm just like, wait a minute, there's like this whole other, and this is just coming about now. I'm like, there's this whole other thing that I should probably create that I'm missing out on. So like, and actually today when Chad asked me, I know it's like a simple question, like, what is my 100K program offering? I'm like, oh my God, no one's ever asked that. I've had that thought, but no one's ever asked that. And if I really want to get to 7 figures, like if I had one of these a month, like I'd be at 7 figures. So somehow today that just like landed. I'm like, oh. And so basically right now my clients will go from like one program to the other. They don't have to go in a specific order, but my main offering that my one-on-one clients do is called Soul Speak Sessions. It's about healing from conditioning and living your purpose authentically. But then some people they'll get pregnant, they'll go through like my soul parent, spiritual child, they'll want hit generational trauma, they'll do generational healing. Some of them want to then be trained in that, they do that. And like I have some clients who have like done every offering like I've ever put out. And they've done them all. So like it's not a linear way. Like there's certain points where you can start, but like
Sure.
people do go through them all. And so what I'm hearing from what you guys are saying is like I could actually instead just put them all in one and make that the larger offering. That's like correct. Like this is what is kind of coming through. Because what I was thinking about doing is kind of just creating this like program. I thought I was thinking I was going to create one that's like 30 grand and it'd be in a group. And like this group, this high level group would just go with me and they could start at any month because I hate this like trying to launch and get everyone to start at the same time.
Not
It creates
necessary.
like a lot of internal stress for me for some reason. I don't know why. Like I don't feel
Well,
that way if people can join whenever,
stressful.
but I feel really stressed when like it's like this is starting on like March 21st. Like I feel anxiety. I don't know why. So
I like to switch
anyway,
it
so
up.
I
So
don't know if that answers it, but basically
yeah,
like people do different offerings. But what I'm hearing is I could put it in one, right? And
that is one solution for sure.
okay.
There's a couple different things that I'm hearing. Of course I can't go through all like I
No, don't.
maybe it's
It's
a
okay.
different conversation, but
Yeah.
it's also the structure, and this is for everybody in here too. So a couple things like you were on 8 calls today. And what if you like when I hear you've been on 8 one-on-one calls, you probably love one-on-one. And I actually do too. Um,
I do
so
love them,
it's
but I also can't do this forever because I'm at like my
no.
ceiling, so I'm done.
So the delivery and the retention, you get to figure out a way that you can still serve at a high level, and not have to be on Zoom. So I actually don't do many Zoom calls anymore. I was on Zoom like back to back. It's like Zoom fatigue
Yeah,
is what
my
I call it.
eyes are starting to go. That's why, like, so my dream when Chad's asking, like, what do people want? Like, what I want is to not be on the computer. And so, like, this idea of automating too, I'm like, I have to figure out how to do this. I don't want to be more on the computer. Get me off of
Like I
this.
have my nerdy glasses from having to be on the
I have
computer.
blue protection. Yeah, blue light protection. And then I
Totally.
have like EMF protection. Like, I'm like, keep me safe over here. But, anyways.
Yes, absolutely. So it's just about being when you're talking about the seven-figure delivery and the retention, it's really like how can you deliver this in a way that is not going to burn you out, that you're still giving a lot of value to. So I will say that we are actually for our clients, we're available for them 24/7, and yet I don't get on a Zoom call unless I'm like feeling it. Like then I'll reach out and be like, hey, we need a call. Hint, hint, there's someone on here. I can't wait for our call. So, it's like it's just how you structure your offer, which is gonna be a big way of how do you get to 6 figures, how do you get to 7 figures? It's the model of how you deliver it, right? So whether you have a signature or you put them together or you have all of the other one, like that's a whole conversation in itself, but ultimately, how are you delivering them? So if you want a 30K offer, are you creating something brand like new and then you have to do all of this stuff all over again? Like, right. So you get to put all of that into consideration when you're talking about the delivery and the retention and like, okay, now I want to scale, but how do I do this so that I'm not burning myself out? Because like I said in the beginning, there is nothing worse than doing what you love and burning out from it because you're on a screen all day. It's the worst, and I know this from personal experience. So Chad, welcome back. Glad to have you here. I
Thank
crushed it.
you.
Don't worry. I got this.
I had faith.
So, we've talked a lot about self-discovery. And so I want to not just talk about it, I want to actually do a self-discovery exercise with you so that you guys can see the gaps of where you are and what are the things that you need. Because I'm going to say some of you guys might need all of this. Some of you guys might need like just a couple or one. You might be doing great in every area. And then there was one that you're like, oh, got it. This is what's preventing me from growing further. So I'm gonna let Chad draw his circles and his amazing art again because he's so good at it. We didn't do the stick figures this time, but Chad has probably the best stick figures of
They're
anybody
great.
I know.
I'll give an example of somebody that only needed one. Well, it's like they really needed two things, but they thought they only needed one, and they joined. They paid, I think it was $7,500 at the time for the program, and and um only needed one thing out of the 9 things that we, I mean, obviously we do a little bit more than that, but really like 9 things we kind of talk about. Um, and so it's really interesting. I was basically like, hey, if you could solve, and it was very similar to Vanessa's situation. Like, there's like one thing. If we could just solve like that 100K program for her and help her put together that 100K program, and she sold 3 in the next year, that's an extra $300,000 over the next year, right? Would that be worth, whatever amount of money that she would pay us? I think so. And so one of the things that we know about everybody here is that you are called to make a deep impact in the world, and that possibly that calling, and if I disappear, it's because my keyboard is down here. Um,
Oh,
not,
the great
not,
magician.
I didn't take a nap. And so this is the thing I know is either one of two things. When you were growing up, you felt this like pull that you were here for more, right? Or you felt lost and didn't fit in. Because sometimes it's like if we ended up fitting into one of these groups, that it would actually take us off the path of where we needed to be fulfilling on what we're doing in the world and that calling. And so
Not here to fit in, my friend. We are here to stand out. We are here to trailblaze. We are here to make a difference, and that is a blessing. So the next thing we know about you is you're also here to make an impact with people. Impact matters. We're not here to make like let's just build an empty business that's going to pay our bills and travel the world and our own self benefit. And with that being said, there's also like you build wealth and make money and you can make an even larger contribution, right? You have a vision in the world. There's something that you're here for. It's specific. You know it. Like why have we been doing this for 7 years? We have a vision. And that vision calls us through all of the other things that we've ever gone through. And then ultimately, wealth, like we said, like not just making money but building wealth is a completely different it's completely different. And we build wealth that brings legacy, it brings impact to future generations. So how do we do this? Well, the first thing is you need visibility, right? We've talked about the seven, like the pyramid and the different aspects of that. And just to kind of sum it up, is like you've got to have visibility. Now, as we go through these, and I want to hear from you guys in the chat as well, I want you to rate yourself on these things of either red, like I do not have this, like I need to work on this, yellow of like, it's okay. There's definitely room for improvement. Or red or green, excuse me, of like green, I'm good. This is perfect. If you're green, let's high five and keep doing what you're doing. You don't need to change anything. It's the worst thing is people are like, oh, I feel like I'm stuck, so I'm just going to change everything, which is exactly why we do this, is so that you can see for yourself. Like, no, you don't have to change everything. Just this is the way that this is what you need to work on right now. So the first thing is organic. So this is like how you gain visibility online. Chad, do you want to go through some of these?
yeah. hmm Yeah, so one of the ways that we are going to gain visibility is by creating organic. And Holly said content, and most of the time we're going to build organic reach through content. But there's actually connection too. If you're a connector, sometimes you can just go to Facebook groups and just have conversations and see people comment, and it's like it creates conversation. We like some of our clients that got really fast results from like almost zero-ish, they would literally go to groups and they're like, they find somebody with a problem, they would create a connection with them, they would message them back and forth, they would jump on a call, and they would just close clients. It was just, I'm not able to do that, but they were able to follow our process and like kind of like what do you call it, like speed things up per se, and just get clients like that. It was really, really, really kind of crazy on how they were able to do that. So but the other way is, and we're going to talk about this, is we had a client, Laurel. She actually came to us and was attempting to build on TikTok and Facebook, and kind of just was all over the place. But she was getting like 100 views on her videos, and like it just wasn't going well. But she was getting referrals. She was doing well at the hoping, right? Like she would have these people that come to her. She was making about $4,000 a month. She a lot of successful clients, that type of thing. And then Holly started working with her on the energetics and the alignment side of things. And it was weird, actually. There was like literally this hugest shift in her way of being. Like it's like when she first came to us, it was like almost like a distraction, and like she was all over the place, and like it was like when she got, I don't know, the session that Holly did with her or whatever, it was like focus, empowering, like she was just ready to go. And literally she started going viral like crazy, and we can't guarantee this or anything, and I'm not exactly sure what she did, but she was getting millions and millions of views on her videos, and to the point where when she was going through some life stuff and then putting on pause of working with us, she had over 20 million views on her videos. And it was amazing, right? All of these views, you think like, man, her business must have blew up like overnight as she was getting, millions of views. No, she was actually not even converting them into leads. They were just people watching videos. Then we figured that problem out of like converting those into leads. And then it was getting them to book a call, and that was a challenge in its own stuff. And then it was like she was booking a bunch of calls, or they were booking a bunch of calls, but nobody was showing up. And then we finally got them to show up. These are like the challenges that you go through, because like Holly was saying, like this it is not easy, but like you'll see the shift in like how she went from 4,000. Well, let me finish it. So then people were showing up, but nobody was buying. And then we had to work that out. And then finally we got this consistent process of like they were showing up and they were buying. And she went from $4,000 a month to $35,000 a month. And it was great, but it was disconnected. It was before we had our authentic automation
Can we
system.
just thank Laurel for the creating? This is how the authentic automation system came to be.
Yeah, yeah. It was literally like we created it for her. Like she went through some life stuff and kind of put everything on pause. And in the process, we're like, how could we have made this freaking easier? Like how could we she would go to 35 and then drop down to 15 and then up to 25, and she did that for 4 or 5 months. I think she steadied out at about $20,000 a month.
Yeah.
So, but she would be at 100,000 a month if she would have, if we could have plugged in the authentic automation system into her business, she'd be at 100. And so it was literally, we took all the challenges that we saw from her and like went, how do we solve this? And that's how the authentic automation was built. So that's organic marketing. Now, partnership, this is something that is really cool and kind of new-ish to us, but getting amazing results, where we'll team up with Facebook groups, we'll team up with people with podcasts, and then we will offer our services. And then if they like, I mean, some of you maybe came from, I think Cindy, you came from life coaching community. I'm not sure if Mickey, if you came from, is that where you came from? Yeah, awesome. Andre was here earlier. And so he's the owner of the group. We have a partnership with him, and he is essentially, we have a system where we're getting people that come in that want a training, and now they're coming into our world. That's a partnership. And then when somebody becomes a client, we pay them percentage. And so it's a pretty awesome system.
Something to think about. So something to think about. I want to kind of back up. Is first, I want you to rate yourself on your organic. Do you feel like your organic is effective? And is it doing what it is that you want it to do, what you're out for? So red being
Oh,
like, what what do you mean, right? How do I get this to work? Maybe you're posting every day and you're not getting clients. So defining organic again. So organic is this is like you posting on social media, or maybe you're going into groups and you're finding and connecting with people in groups. But if you're red, then that would be like it's not working the way that you want it to. Maybe you're not getting any clients, maybe you're getting a couple here and there, nothing, not like a stable system. If you're yellow, that would look like clients are coming in from your content and the connections that you're making. Like maybe you're making a lot of connections and it seems very like, "Oh, I can't keep doing this. Oh my gosh, I don't want to message another person today, or I don't know what to post, but I know that I need to post, otherwise I'm not going to get a client." That would be a yellow. And if you're green, then that would look like you have a content system that you're creating. You have a system, maybe you have a couple VAs that are helping you connect with people. The process is very smooth, and then those are converting into clients. So red, yellow, or green on the organic side.
yep.
Green
And
going.
this is the thing, you only really need one of these. To get to 7 figures, you can do it all in organic. It can be a hustle. It can be a lot of content. It can be like in his alignment too. It might be in your alignment. We do a lot. We do a lot in archetypes. So if you took the authentic automation system, there's a quiz, the archetype quiz. Depending on your archetype, might depend on which of these strategies might actually be the best for you. So awesome,
And
creative.
we did our first 7 figures all organic.
Yes.
So it is absolutely possible. Partnership. So like Chad was saying, whether that's you're partnering with different podcasts and you're going on podcasts, or, we've done a couple interview swaps with some high level people where we got in with their audience and they got on our audience, and there was some interview swapping there. The groups, we are connected with some amazing group leaders of things. So be thinking of like, is there groups out there that would be a good connection? It's like partnerships are all about win-win for everybody. So On the partnership side, if you're red, then you're like, I never even thought about this before. Oh my goodness. Like maybe light bulbs are flashing. If you're yellow, maybe you have a couple partnerships, but it's not anything to like run home and
Maybe they're not
to
converting.
celebrate
Yeah.
in. What's that?
Maybe you're getting leads, but they're not converting into clients.
Yes.
Maybe the flow isn't quite the way that you would like it. Maybe they're not evergreen. Because this is the thing, like the ideal partnership is actually to create it as an evergreen process. How can you actually build into somebody else's situation, right? Something that's running all the time. Um,
And then green, what would green look like for partnerships?
this is like your business is like it's like a well-oiled machine. You got people coming in and they're buying, they're booking calls, they're all coming. It's just like coming, like you don't have to convince them. They're just like your process is like really dialed in.
Yes. And the next way to get visibility is the paid way. You
Mhm.
get to pay to play. Now, either way, you're going to pay because if you go organic, you're going to pay your time. And traffic is you get to learn how to run traffic, and then it's a whole analytics and how do I create like good creatives that go and all of that things. It's a whole different ball game. I'm like, oh, I'm getting kind of excited about it. Um, Wherever you're at is perfect. Some people they're like, I don't even want to deal with paid. I just like it's not my thing. I have no interest in it whatsoever. And some people are like, well, that sounds a lot easier because I don't really want to create content. And if I could just scale and pay, like that's me. So either way is perfect. Again, we are all about alignment. We started organic and through partnerships, and we're just getting into, I've done paid traffic for clients. I'm currently doing paid traffic for clients now. We did some paid traffic for here. So it's like ultimately though, you don't want to do paid. And if you're red, I don't want you to make it mean anything. If you don't have the process for all of this that converts first, you don't want to actually go spend money until you know that your offer converts. Otherwise, you're just going to waste a lot of money. I've heard a lot of stories of people who are like, oh, I'll do ads and get you clients, but they didn't have an offer that was proven yet. And so they just dumped all that money. And like that is something. So, like, there is a point when you're ready for paid. I would literally start with organic and partnership. And until you have at least $2,000 in a month that you're going to be okay if it doesn't work as you're testing, then don't even go to paid. Right. So that's what I want to say about that. I think that's really important. Now, if you're like, let's go, like I have 2 grand and I have an offer that converts, and like I would love to just run ads all day into my authentic automation system and then not have to do all of this heavy lifting. That sounds absolutely amazing. Then I want you to mark that as like something that is possible and it could be a way for you. Because if you don't like posting and social media isn't your thing and connecting isn't really your thing, the paid way is probably going to be a good way for you, but it's going to cost something. So, red, I see a lot of reds here. Um, don't know, not my like absolutely don't even know what I'm doing there. Yellow could be like, well, I boosted a post. Does that count? That would be a yellow. And if you're green, then I mean, you have like top of funnel, you got retargeting campaigns going, like you understand what converts and your headlines and testing and everything. Um, so right now, red, yellow, or green. You did boost some posts. I'm going to say yellow.
There you go.
No, it's okay. And
Um,
go ahead.
oh, so what I want to do, I want to talk about one of our clients. You could have visibility dialed in. We had a client that literally could put 1,000 people in a Facebook group in a weekend. It was insane. Like he creates connections and partnerships and like he can flow. But when he came to us, he had no freaking money at all. Like he couldn't sell anything to save his life. To the point where he would send us clients and then we would give him like referral money and that was awesome. And then when he was like, hey, is there any way that I could work with you guys and you could just pay like basically I could just keep on referring you and it'll just pay off my membership. And I'm like, no, I don't think so. And the reason I didn't want to do this is because he literally had this like allergy to money. Like he wouldn't make an offer. He was great at connection, but he did not know how to sell. He did not know how to do anything. Like to the point where I remember he was literally at a Tony Robbins event, and this girl was trying to do a video, and he showed her how, and she goes, "Wow, that was so valuable." like I would have paid somebody like $1,000 to show me how to do that. That would thank you so much. And like instead of making him an offer or making her an offer, like, hey, well, I can coach you on how to do videos on a regular basis and you could be in my program. He's like, oh, well, thanks. And then like walked away. And so it took him like 3, 4 months and he finally got the money together to come back and hire us. We helped him work through some of the money stuff, helped him kind of really go the direction that he wanted to go. He ended up doing like $16,000 in his first 2 months working with us, and then went on to do like another like I think like $90,000 in the next couple months. But like what he's done in the last 2 or 3 years, just kind of with the foundations of what we built there, he got to $83,000 a month the last time on like the high end of what he was doing. He was doing that consistently too. And so
And
it's
he's still out there and he's still coaching and he's
still crushing it.
still crushing it. And he's even married. It's been fun to watch people's journey. So he's still rocking it. So with that being said, you can have all the visibility, but if you don't have the enrollment system, it's not going to matter. So
Exactly.
first part in the enrollment system is really this premium positioning, which really consists of 3 different areas. It's having your message really dialed in, speaking to that ideal person. It's having your offer, like what is that offer or offers? I know some of you guys have a couple of them in here, but ultimately, like how do you structure like your offer, but then how do you structure it where it's also not burning you out too, and that it can scale and bring a large number of people to it, if that's what it is that you want. And then being able to package your genius, like how do you take your gifts and your genius? We work a lot through, I don't know if you guys took the impact marketing archetype quiz. Ultimately, what we've done is, I'm like, I love that you have the Soul Academy. So I've done a lot, hundreds of Akashic record sessions and soul work with people. And, everyone has these gifts and how they work best and what their genius is. And so what I did is like, I'm very good at finding patterns. That's part of my genius. It's like, what are the patterns? And so ultimately what we did is we created these different gifts and I put them into different archetypes. And then we created the quiz so that as you build this, you can do this in a way that's in alignment to who you are and to what your gifts are without having to do. This was my premium positioning because I was doing 1.5 hour sessions with people and I could not scale. I was the bottleneck. We literally had 40 clients at one time that I'm doing all of this energy work for, and it was a lot. And so we figured out a way to be able to package this into a way that still is impactful for people. And I'm doing this even further by, which I haven't shared this, but I just feel led to share it. So I'm actually creating custom GPTs of each of the archetypes with our frameworks in them so that you can use these so that you can create your marketing in alignment to who you are. And so there's always a way that you can shift and package your genius and your gifts into something that is, how am I doing the Akashic record? That's actually now a premium offer. So if I do them, it is separate and it's a premium. So that's what I do now. So I've been able to leverage this side. And then when people want that, then it's just a premium offer now.
Yeah, so she's basically taken the gifts that she got from the records, was able to make a system out of it and create the architect quiz. So it's basically like so you could take the quiz to discover. It's renamed and we package it differently, and you actually have multiple gifts. And if somebody wants the session, then they pay the big money. So um,
Which is worth it. So
yep, absolutely. And
yep.
so then we get into the authentic automation system. This is really having your whole journey kind of dialed in, going from cold, no clue who you are. So we have like the cold to enrolled. We actually, that was our framework before we came up with the authentic automation system. But it really does that same process all in kind of one thing: cold to enrolled, taking people that don't know who you are and then bringing them into hot and like love you and like let's go. And so that is the authentic automation. So green is like your process is completely dialed in, and yes, it will be completely dialed in, bringing people from cold to enrolled. And yellow is like it's disjointed, but you have a process, right? You have a process to bring cold people in. You have your nurture process. You have your hot process that converts people, and it works, but it's just like kind of all over the place. And then red is you don't have a process to bring cold. You're hoping, you're hunting, getting referrals, you're doing all that. So rate yourself on yellowish, nice. Yellow or a green, yellow, red.
Slightly orange. For some reason, we've created people have created blue over the years. Like that doesn't surprise me. I get it. It's all good. All right. So now without all of this, there's a very important element that is required in getting to this multiple six, seven figures, and that is automation red. I literally just I need more clients. My guides on them. I love it. Um, and the automation can help kind of warm them up and nurture them so they can find you, you know, but you follow your path. Ultimately, when I said in the beginning, when we had this agency, the biggest thing that I couldn't hold it. And this was a big piece for me, and I had to go through a big journey. I've gone through.
Next is selling without selling, and then retention. It's all good.
Oh, did you do the selling? Oh, my bad. Go ahead.
Yeah, no worries. Selling with the next one is selling without selling. So having a process that feels good. So that the green is like your sales process is effective. It is it's transformational for the potential person where they get discovery, and they're selling you instead of you selling them. So that is what green looks like. Yellow looks like this. It's effective, and maybe it's one of the other. Either they're selling you or it's transformational. Some people do like sessions, right, where they have a breakthrough, but then there's like an awkward transition to like a pitch. Sometimes people are good at it, but that could be like a yellow situation. And then red looks like this. You don't have a sales process. It's basically you're not getting the clients that you want, or they're just kind of maybe you gotta beat them over the head a little, or something. I don't know. But I don't know what a red sales but yeah, so or it's just not effective, right? Maybe you're getting on a ton of calls and nobody's actually becoming a client. That could be a red situation. So go ahead and rate yourself on that.
And as you can see, you're probably seeing a bunch of colors now. There's some reds, there's some yellows, there's some greens. So all the areas that you're green, keep doing what you're doing. It's amazing. Yellows, it's like, okay, there's work and improvement to do. And if there's reds, like, okay, that is what I need to work on. And that is the purpose of this. You can have the enrollment, but ultimately there's got to be a transformation. Vanessa, thanks for popping on. Would love to have a conversation further with you if you feel led. So this next piece is really this transformation piece. Like we said in the beginning, there was something that I needed within myself. There was a healing that I needed because I couldn't hold a seven-figure company. It just all collapsed on me. And so ultimately, this next piece is transformation. And this is more of I'm like, it's an inward and an outward, but as is everything. So this next piece is really like the structure and the planning, right? The more that we can have some sort of structure and planning within our business, the structure gives us freedom. If you want flow and freedom, there's got to be some sort of structure, and it's going to look differently for each of you. Like again, I'm a projector, so I got to just follow my energy. If I'm feeling low, like even if we had a meeting that day, like hey, we got to reschedule it to this day, like not going to work for me today, and we don't force it. But there is a structure in place so that we can have the planning and we know uh, what exactly we need to work on within our business, right? So just quick example. So like every quarter we go through and we have a structure. We look like where are we in this area of our business? Like literally these 7 areas. Where are we in this area? Where are we in this area? Where are we in this area? And we put a plan together so that we can start implementing that through this quarter. Right. So I want you to rate yourself here. Is it red? Like, oh, quarters. Huh. Never really thought about quarterly planning. I guess that would make sense. No wrong here. So if there's no planning at all and you're just kind of going by the seat of your pants, that would be a red. If you're like yellow would be like, yeah, I plan something, but maybe it's like a weekly or monthly type thing. Like I plan for the month, or Sunday night I sit down and I plan for the week. Um, so if that's you, then that would be what a yellow would look like, and then a green would be like, I do quarterly plannings, I sit down on Sunday, I have my week mapped out, and then, again, as you're planning, there's totally a way to put flow in this. I am not a calendar girl. The important things are on my calendar. The chat is like, I want date night is on the calendar, it doesn't happen. So you can do it no matter how you are, but what's important is that you have the structure and the planning. So go ahead and rate yourself of yellow or red, yellow, green on that one. And then the next one, Chad, do you want to do the next one?
Yeah, a retention, like this is the thing is like, Vanessa said something earlier of she needs automation to kind of get to the next level or whatever. And this is the thing is she has tons of clients. If she just made, and she's saying like she made, she had a client that makes $300 million or has $300 million. Like, could she make them a 500K offer? Like, is there something that she could offer them that would literally, take her business to almost $1 million right there, right? Because yeah. So it's like keeping clients on, I think she's nailed. But then like, how can we actually offer things that are even bigger things? I'm just
What's the
using.
next journey? So really knowing what your client journey is, and from the like, this is what they come for, this is what they, as they progress, what's next?
Mhm.
And then they grow and evolve. Like when you can grow and evolve with them and know what it is that they need next, then you can have that retention. And then also the deliverability part is, and the client success is making sure you have systems that, we check in on them. They make sure you're doing okay. Like, what's the accountability look like? Are you growing a community if that's part of your offer? So there's different pieces of this. So I want you to take a look. If you are red, then you may have an offer or you may not. And so there isn't really any kind of retention or upsell into anything because it's not there yet. Or people are coming in, but they're not upselling. That would also be a red. If you're a yellow, this would look like what's coming to me is like your clients aren't necessarily getting what they came for. Would that be what you would think or what you would
What's
say?
one of two things is it's weird that client retention and client success can be two different things. They can get amazing results, but then they don't stick around.
That's
It's
true.
really strange. So they could get amazing results, but then they don't stick around because, and this all comes to the vision of seeing what's the next thing for them. And if they don't see the vision of what they could, why you're valuable down the road, like that playing that out for them and them knowing what the next thing is really important. So they either one or the other. So yellow is maybe they're getting amazing results, but they're not sticking around. I mean, the other side is like they're sticking around, but they're not getting amazing results. That's weird, but I'm sure
It
possible. And there's
happens because I like
coaches. Yeah, there's coaches that totally get that. They don't get the amazing results, but there's like a great culture and they stick around. So you
Yep.
got to really look at if it's one or the other, then that's a yellow situation. And like if you get neither, then that's a red situation.
Awesome. And this next piece is the energetics and alignment. Like the energy matters, how you show up matters. Like I will say that this masterclass has been such a different vibe because it's not something that we needed to do to pay our rent or something. Like the energy there isn't there. It is literally like, hey, we haven't done a masterclass in a while. Huh. I kind of feel like things are evolving and shifting. Like let's create something and then we can do a masterclass. Like it's a completely different energy. Right? So who you be, how you show up as, like all of that puts a play on, if you're thinking like, "Oh, I don't know what to post. I can't get this thing right. Everything I do seems to mess up." Like your energy is not the same of like, I am a leader. I know that everything is working out for me. I always win. Like you show up differently. So your energetics and alignment, are you working within your gifts? Are you doing the things like that light you up? Are you in your genius zone? Right? Those are all things to put into place. And then also another part of that is there's you hold things within your body, right? Like there is things that keep you stop and stuck. The past, even we can do all of the work because I know you're a coach and you've done all of the work. So you can do all of this work on yourself, but then somatically there's this past trauma that's still within your body. So we need to restructure and rewire your nervous system so that you can go out there and be in alignment and you can be powerful and show up and get those things out of the way. So if you are red, that looks like I think when you're not in alignment and you're trying to force things and nothing works out and you're like doing something because someone else said that that's what you should do, but then it feels icky for you, like that is a red. That is not an area we want to be at. A yellow could look like, all right, but I'm having a bad day. Like to my ladies out there, you know what we go through. Like I just don't feel like it, but I'm gonna do it anyway. And like maybe the emotional intelligence and how we hold things is like it's good, it's okay, but right? I don't have to say like, And then a grain is like, I have an emotional intelligence. I have tools that anytime I have breakdowns, I can use my tools. I can shift out of it quickly. I'm still a powerful person no matter what. and I go and I can serve my clients and I make it about them and not about me, and we're moving forward and we're powerful. That would be a green. So now take a look at all of these beautiful colors. You have reds, you have yellows, you have greens, and this is all a part of the journey. So now, and I really want, if you're still here, I really want to acknowledge you for your time. Orange, reddish yellow, I totally get that. And this color could change depending on the day. But I really want to acknowledge you for being here tonight. And with that, like taking a look at your picture, you've kind of seen for yourself some of the things that you need to work on, some of the things that are going really well, and some of the things that like maybe are not. And so would it be okay if we gave yourself, like ultimately there's two ways that we could go from here, right? We could say like high five, thanks for coming. You guys are all amazing. I wish you the best. Or we could offer you a way that is going to help you, support you, and start implementing this for your own business. Would it be okay if we showed you the latter? Cool. Cool, 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 cool. So let me share my screen again.
I don't think anybody said yes. All right, great.
So
Have a great
Mickey,
day.
I see you, Mickey. She
Oh,
said
okay.
yes. I was watching.
I was looking in the chat. I didn't good call. Good. Okay. She's like, no, don't go.
Don't tell me how I can make my life easier. Get out of here. All right, so let me share my screen. You guys can screenshot this, whatever you need to do. So I want to introduce you guys to the 7-figure client flow intensive. So what the 7-figure client flow intensive is this is a full week. I know Vanessa said that she doesn't like when things start at a certain date, but I just felt like doing it because that's my alignment and that's my flow and that's how we work around here. And so the 7-figure client flow intensive is a full 7-week live implementation program. What's going to happen is I'm going to share a link. Actually, I can share the link now and then in a little bit. So we go week by week. This is a live course. You get a full Telegram community within this program. So we are here for you. The moment you sign up, then you will get an email that will bring you into this Telegram group. We are here if you want to message, ask questions. We are here for it. So it's a full active community within Telegram. Every week, we're going to go through each one of these. We're going to get your messaging, your offer, your pricing, get that premium positioning, have that lead flow. We're going to figure out what's going to be the best way that's aligned for you. Is it partnerships? Is it traffic? Is it organic? We're going to help set up what it looks like to create that authentic automation for you with you. You'll get tools to be able to set up this empowered enrollment and the delivery retention. So this is going to be very interactive. It is not a one-on-one, but it is a live program, and we will be with you for questions and everything else in between in the Telegram. So you'll get the strategy calls. And what we decided to do for the next 24 hours, if you're like, oh my gosh, I'm in, like, let's do this together, we are going to give you full access to our Called Coach program. The Called Coach program was currently, let me go back over here. The Called Coach program was a program that we ran. I will say that you will get lifetime access to this program. There is a lot of content in there, everything that will show you how to attract, how to enroll. There is a whole breathwork library in here to help you with your nervous system. There is alignments in here to help you with the alignment section. There is a plethora of training. Again, it sold for $7,500. So that is for the next 24 hours. The 7-figure client flow intensive. I decided that we were just going to do something crazy because that's what I wanted to do. So thank you to my husband for following my crazy antics when I have ideas. So we decided we weren't going, I really want this to be available to everybody. And I want to be there to support you through the thing. So the 7-figure client intensive is only $1,500.
Yeah. So if you look at the what everything's in there, I mean, not only did the Called Coach like actually sell, like not value, like everybody says, like the value of this, it sold for $7,500. Now I will say, just for all transparency, there was a support coach that came with that was a little bit different, and he would get on calls. This is not this does not have that. So just to be integrity and transparency and all that good stuff. But yeah, so it did sell for $7,500 though. How long is the Called Coach Cricut? You have 24 hours to get it as the free bonus.
Yeah.
And if you do want one-on-one, if you're like, I want this, but I need one-on-one support, or I want further support, we can. This is what I will do. Anybody that jumps into this, after unlimited, you'll have it forever. Yeah, unlimited access. As long as we have whatever platform that it is hosted on. So if it goes under or something, there's dinosaurs roaming the earth again. But what I was going to say is I'm going to do this. I'm going to add another bonus. Anybody that signs up for this, I'm going to do a one-on-one call with you, which is worth, I don't know, somewhere between $1,200 and $2,500 a month. I don't do a lot of calls, coaching calls anymore, but I'll do a call with you, and we'll kind of discuss, where's the bottlenecks, what's stopping you, and kind of create a little bit of a plan on how to really dominate this program. So.
Awesome. So the link is in the chat. So again, we get started on this April 1st. However, when you join, you will get access to the Telegram immediately. And then within 24 hours, we will get you access into the Called Coach program, which you will have for life. So you'll get weekly calls. And then in between that, you will get any questions like the implementation. All of that will be in the Telegram through voice. So I would love to be a part of your journey to get you to green in all of those areas. And I just appreciate you and what it is that you're up to.
Yeah, so what I'll do is on our call, we'll kind of go through and we'll discover kind of what's stopping you, and then I'll point you in the direction of where to get started in the Called Coach, because it is like a jungle. There's like a ton. It literally is like hundreds of hours of training in there.
I think there's actually like 108 different trainings in there.
Yes. And so what I'll do is I'll kind of create a guide for you of where to get started and where to go next, and so on and so forth, so you can kind of get that. And then if you do want one-on-one support, we can have that conversation. And then anything like this program will take the money that you invest in this program and put it towards one-on-one. So.
Awesome. Well, there's the link.
Go ahead and click on the link before it disappears forever. Not really forever. If you message me, I will probably get it to you when I get a chance.
All right, awesome. Well, congratulations, everybody who has made that step. How many times a year do you offer this? This is literally, I don't know.
I don't know. We'll see.
I can't answer that. When we say like Holly, so we have a program that we've run. We have one-on-one clients, and I've just been feeling like I'm big on alignment and following those flows. I genuinely believe that when like people don't have a money problem, you have a self-trust problem. And so when I get the like, hey, I want to do this, like this is what we're doing. So I don't know. I wish I could tell you. But for right now, this is where it is, and we'll see how it goes.
Yep. Cool. Awesome. Appreciate y'all. Feel free to reach out if you're like on the fence. And
Start date again is April 1st.
Because the fence hurts your butt. Don't do it.
Indeed.
All right.
All right. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate you and your time and what it is that you're up for in the world. Hopefully I will see you in the intensive, and I'll talk to you soon.
Bye.